All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. Unto this life foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. I'll make this a quick show through the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Just a few points I wanted to bring out as I'm watching this particular picture where a whole bunch of Jakes, it looked like it was one of the inner cities in the 60s or 70s, most likely the 60s and 50s. No, I'm looking at the clothing. Long one I put the picture on the show as a thumbnail. If you understand what I'm looking at right now. I don't know where it is, but a whole bunch of Jake is running. It's a black and white picture. And what I see from this particular picture is this particular scripture and what's about to come through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because I just did a show basic on Jacob's trouble and things that's going to happen. And more every day, every person, man, woman, and child having dreams, visions of this particular event that's about to take place. People are getting upset of how they're being treated, how they've been playing by the rules, and they being ousted. The people that's coming over here that people think, oh, they got it good, they're suffering because they coming into condition where everybody hates them. They're not getting the help that they need and so forth. So this is the recipe of disaster, where talking is not going to be an option, where it's just going to be actions. And it all starts with a warning. And from that, when that warning takes place, and when nobody listen to that warning, then these actions are taken. All right. Everybody likes to talk about World War II and all this other, what happened and then, and why people didn't stand up and everything like that. In order to understand that, you have to understand the history. Even that history in itself is self-explanatory when you allow people to suffer, right? And this is out of their own history. I'm not making this up. When you allow your citizens to suffer the way they allow their citizens to suffer after World War I, and then when that particular nation got themselves back up, it was kind of convenient that everybody was once again turned against them. So there's always a build-up before a catastrophic event takes place. So I'm going to read 2 Ezra 15. I'm going to read some of it, not all of it. Hit a couple of points and that's it. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. It caused them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." So it was written in paper because the Lord knew that we was going to forget who we were as a people. All right. And he made it to the way it was easy access to have it. So it wasn't something that nobody knew about. It was an easy access, even though it was being misinterpreted, manipulated. They manipulated many people to believe how they wanted to believe. Put their guard down, not to put their guard up. But it was still accessible. All right. And it even to the point is in different languages. So the words of the Lord, even we was talking about it. Scripture says, let me get this real quick, which is heavy. I was thinking about this earlier. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach. Well, this is a prologue, but when you read it, and an actual book is separate, but and here it is in the first chapter. So the prologue, Sirach, first chapter, I gotta look for this real quick, is in the middle. There it is. It says, but The Lord self, matter of fact, I'm going to start here. All right. This is the prelogue. Wherefore, I don't know if I can highlight that. Can't even highlight this over here. It is what it is. It says, wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor, talking about the scriptures, and attention, and to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret. Talking about the ones that sat down and interpreted this book. All right. It was giving us a clue. It says, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another language have not the same force in them. So the point is the same force. All right. So when you look into languages, I got to go back to the breakdowns of stuff. When you go back to language, the key language to all languages is Hebrew. All right. So now you break it down to the Hebrew alphabet. Then is always who conquered. In other words, the next one up, this is the language that people will speak. So when you break down the Hebrew, when it was interpreted, this book was interpreted from Hebrew to Greek. This is why I got to get this real quick. I don't want to veer off subject or topic, but it needs to be said. St. John 19:19. It says, and Pilate wrote a title, put it on the cross, and it was written, was Yahushua Nazareth, the King of Kings. This title then read many of the Jews. So the Jews' language is what? Hebrew, right? For the place where Yahushua was crucified was nigh in the city, and it was written in Hebrew, obvious, and Greek. So it went from Hebrew to Greek and Latin. So these are the prominent stages. So every time that the Hebrew was dissected, or they lowered the frequency, so to speak. So even to the point, what's so important about Latin? Latin is where English derived from. Okay, English is derived from Latin. If I'm not mistaken, Latin, Greek, Dutch, and something else. So from Latin you got French. You have Latin or Spanish, Portuguese. All right. So Latin, it was diverse, but as time goes by, the vibration is lowered. So even in this lowered form of language, let me read this again. It says, where was I? It says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, to pardon us, wherein you may seem to come short of the same words which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the book have no small difference when they have spoken in their own language. So the Lord even spoke to us in this lower frequency, left us this book to guide us in the time. That's how heavy this is, to guide us in these dark days. So the showing the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. The language I'm speaking is so low. Even in this language, is powerful enough that once His name is spoken and the things are open to you, that you could receive that high frequency. This is why we break down, look words up in the Hebrew and the Greek to get a stronger force of the definition of what's being told to us. All right? Because many people read the scriptures and they couldn't understand the scriptures. All right, they couldn't understand it. Matter of fact, I'm just going with the spirit, so forgive me. Isaiah Slakia. Isaiah 28 and 14, I believe. Slakia. Isaiah 28, and there it is. 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? Or whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. All right? So those that are babes, that's willing to accept. All right? And this wasn't given to anybody else. This was given to the elect. Matthew 13 and 9. Lord spoke to the people in parables. They spoke Hebrew back then. All right? He spoke to them in parables. Because this thing was not made for everybody. This thing was made for only the elect. So this knowledge is going to be taught to the less, what the people consider the lesser people in the world. For precept must be upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, it says here a little, there a little. So to read this book is a puzzle, which you have to be able to interpret and put it together. And you only could be taught that via the prophets. But even though you're taught that via the prophets, you have to be a prophet yourself in order to understand the interpretation clearly. All right? For with a staggering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. So there you go. So with another tongue, this is a low frequency words that we use, but it's low frequency that all people should understand. Even though we speak plain to people, it's like we speaking to them in parables. Or we speaking them in dark sayings because they can't understand. It says, to whom he said, this is the rest wherewith you may cause the weary to rest. Who's the weary? The Israelites, the elect. This is the rest. This is where you get understanding. And this is the refreshing, yet they will not hear. All right, which leads back to this. It says, 2 Ezra 15 and 1. Behold, speak down in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. So the words of prophecy, to say before, was to be spoken to the Lord's people. Who are the Lord's people? Now, which is a mystery to this moment, to this day, because we have Israelites that look like other nations, and they don't know they're Israelites. But when they hear this word, they'll be captivated to understand this word. All right? But yet you still have a lineage of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are, from their fathers, are natural Israelites. All right? It says, it causes me to be written in paper, which I wrote that down, for they are faithful and true, which meaning what? Everything that is written in this book is going to come to fruition. It's coming to light. It says, fear not the imagination against thee. So there's going to be people that's going to combat us. All right? I had the word already. The word is adamant. And when you read Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, it's spoken of the Lord is going to make our forehead harder than their foreheads. Adamant. So when you look up the word adamant, both definitions is beautiful. It says hard, unbreakable. From adamant, the figuratively sense of unshakable. So there's going to be men that's going to be hard, unbreakable, that's going to be steady in the faith. All right? Unshakable. Because who's resisting us? Those that look like us. It says adamant, the other definition, a very hard stone. Adamant, from French adamant, diamond, magnet. So there's the other definition. So the Lord made us adamant to the effect of our own people and their disbelief. It says, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. All right, so don't let them trouble you, the non-believers. Continue what you've been told, right? Because what's happening is everything that's written in this book is coming to fruition. It's coming to life. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So here's the introduction. This is what the Lord is saying. I'm bringing. For the wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, that the hurtful works are fulfilled. So the scripture tells you that the harvest is right. All right, the harvest is twofold, which is the harvest meaning the elect is fully persuaded in their mind, and also wickedness is at its all-time peak, at its high. So this word has the wickedness have completely oversaturated the world. All right. Therefore saith the Lord, I will not hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. Scripture says what David said it. Psalms. Let me see something. Keep not thy silence. What's the one specific one I'm looking for? Maybe it's this one. Psalms 50 and 3. O Yahweh shall come and shall not keep silence. A fire devoured before him. Now there was another one I was thinking of. Maybe it's 35. Yes, it is 35. Psalms 35 and 22. This thou hast seen, O Lord, keep not silence. O Lord, be not far from me. Stir up thyself. Awake to make my judgment, even unto my cause, my power, my Lord. There's another one. Let me see if it's connected in Psalms as well. It says, no. I think it's Psalms 38. No. I'll always miss on this one. Nope, that's not the one I was looking for neither. Well, actually, that is pretty good, though. I ain't gonna hold. Salakia. Let's just see. It says, Psalms 71 and 12. O Yahweh, be not far from me. O my power, make haste for my help. So the Lord's not gonna hold back. He's not keeping silence no more. All right, which he has not been keeping silence. He has been letting it known of his presence via his prophecy. All right, that gives us comfort. And it says, I will not hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profane commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. So this world's, that's why they have a notion in the world, why do as I will, because they're exercising themselves in wickedness. All right. Oh, the brother had did the show. Check that brother's page out. What's his? Endure hardness as a good soldier. The younger brother Malakbar, he was getting into it. Kind of inspired me to do this as well. The spirit. That's why the spirit, when brothers put bangers out, it should inspire brothers, you know. It says, I will suffer them in those things. I will suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me. The souls of the just complain continually. Those of us as living in this hellhole, we're complaining to the Lord continuously, every moment. All right? It's like, damn, you can't get a break. It's just you surrounded, you completely bombarded by wickedness. It says, verse 9, therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. So there's brothers that are going to be put to death, all right, for Yahweh's sake. Brothers are going to lose their life for Yahweh's sake. It says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. All right. So who's leading the Lord's people to the slaughter? These false prophets. Esau, Edom, and his false prophets is leading the Lord's people to the slaughter. So when this picture that I'm looking at, at the time, of course, Jake was in a struggle, and they was left with no other choice. So they took an organic thing that was happening and they hijacked it with Martin Lucifer King and talking about I had a dream and all this other shit. So pacified a generation of Jake. But that seed of uprising is still within Jake. So the Lord's not going to suffer us to go through much longer. But we're going to have to go through stuff too. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretch out arm and smite Egypt with plagues, which Egypt is talking about America. All right? The Lord's smiting this place with plagues, financial plagues and actual plagues. People are going to be dropping dead. They're going to lose everything. As before, and what was before? The Lord plagued Egypt with 10 plagues. All right? And each plague was a representation of the Egyptian gods. And the Lord is basically saying, all right, y'all believe in this God. See if this God could get you out of this or that. And there was the great example is when they was praying to Ra, which is the sun god, and the Lord blackened Egypt, but the sun was still in the land of Goshen. Israel still had the sun, the moon, and everything. All right. So each plague was the Lord's strategic attack against their whole system, against their belief. So that's how it was before. So what do you think the Lord's going to do in this modern term? All right. Now they openly worship all sorts of gods. So all these different gods that they worship openly, the Lord's going to test every single one of them, especially this whole feminine movement. Oh, you scallywags, you whores, y'all think y'all gods? Y'all gonna be tested from day one, and y'all gonna fail miserably. All right, y'all gonna fail miserably. The plague of the firstborn, that was literally plague against Isis, who's supposed to be a mother fraternal goddess. All right, she's supposed to protect the firstborns. So the Lord strategically got all the Egyptians firstborn, and she couldn't do nothing. So men that put women on a pedestal like they something, your God's going to be destroyed. All right. It says, and I will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with plague, and the punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. So Egypt, or America, is in a state of mourning right now. People can't eat right. All right, they can't go on vacations. All right, crime is going up. They work hard for nothing. Okay, and this is nothing compared to what's going to happen when everything's taken from you. Stores are closing down, so you won't get easy access to anything. People barely making ends meet. Got to work 2 or 3 jobs just to pay off their mortgages, apartments. All right. They say that property taxes are going up, so property taxes is skyrocketed. So this whole thing is gonna break the system. All right. So they're in mourning right now, and the foundation thereof, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with plagues. So the very foundation of the rape, robbery, and murder of America, how they got it, from that is going to be plagued. All right. And the punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail. the blasting, and the hell with the fearful in the constellation. So when you go into, I believe it's the Olmec something for farming. So they obviously Genesis, the first chapter, tells you that the stars and the moon, the stars, but mainly the moon is for seasons. So they go by the seasons by the moon, right? Which is a moon itself and the stars is the constellations, the body of heaven. And even in what they would predict in the constellation is not going to be able to get them out of famine and of any sort. Things are getting worse by the second. Woe to the world, which means death and destruction to the world, and them that dwell therein. For sword and their destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So one people is going to fight against another people, which is what? Class wars, race wars, however you want to put it. People are going to go against one another for the form of salvation, for just to survive. All right? There ain't going to be no women and children first. The strong will survive. And the women and the children is going to go with the strongest individuals that they think is strong physically and may have weapons and so forth. But even that isn't going to save them. So we come into some difficult, harsh reality times. And the modern day sword is what? The gun. So they're going to use guns, whoever got the most ammos, all right? Hey, whoever got the most foot soldiers, they're gonna feel safe. And they give you examples of that in the shows of Fear the Walking Dead, all that whole plethora of world where it shows you when people get together, it's not about how much weapons you have, it's about people that's cooperating. And what's gonna happen is people are gonna turn against one another. Then it says, for there shall be a sedition among men and invading one another. So men is the common the common thing of being brotherly or neighborly. It's gonna be thrown out the window. It's gonna be all about survival of the fittest. And they're gonna invade one another because they're gonna see each other as weak. Whoever's the strongest takes from the weak. So man is going to go back to his natural state. And women is going to go back to their natural state. This whole facade of this whole feminine movement is going to be thrown out. Day one, hands down, women are just going to fall under pressure like they've never seen before. And they're going to remember their natural state, but the men is going to remember all the headaches, the disrespect, everything like that. A lot of women is going to be put to death. That's just the reality of it. All right? For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. So there's not going to be an authoritarian figure that's going to be able to quell or pacify the lack of bread and the savagery of men in a natural state. All right? No man, because if that's the case, the kings and the princes would not allow these things to get so bad. Now that these elites allowing this to get bad, so that way they can come in and bring in a BS. Remember, it's all about chaos. All right? It's all about chaos for these people. And they could come with their final solution. So they're allowing all this chaotic shit taking place. And anybody that falls for it is going to be subjugated to the harshest punishment possible. And it's going to be the greatest judgment that's going to take place in America, which is that's going to be captivated, the cherry on top with the missiles. So everything that's going to happen is prior to the missiles. It says, a man should desire to go into a city and should not be able, which is a twofold thing. We finally understand that factor. There is going to be martial law in these major cities, but ultimately it's going to be the smart cities. All right? the smart cities, which isn't allow anybody to come in, you're gonna have to take that thing, that sea hip, to be allowed to get in there. All right. So if you want to go back to the savage land, or you want to come back to a land where you could be civilized, which is still not gonna be civilization, because look what's running it now. And this is all because of the pride of the cities shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So pride is the key essence. And right now, there's a great pride in America to this day. All right? A man should have no pity upon his neighbor, but should destroy their houses with sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and the great tribulation. So the great tribulation is going to consist of all these things and then some. All right? When there's going to be no food, they're going to go crazy. When there's going to be anything of some sort, they're going to go crazy. They're going to take matters into their own hand. So with that, long one of your brothers edify. Shalom to the elect and the nation of Israel. Shalom.